Welcome to Our Future is Kind, a podcast exploring how we build the future we want to live in, one kind act at a time. I'm your host, Michael Neece, president of Our Future is Kind, and your companion in conversations about kindness, leadership, connection, and courage. Each week, I sit down with thoughtful leaders, creators, and bridge builders to explore what a healthier, more humane future could look like, and the choices it takes to build it. These are honest conversations about purpose, culture, curiosity, and what it really means to show up for one another at work, in our communities, and in everyday life. Along the way, we'll unearth practical ideas, small but meaningful acts, and questions worth sitting with, because building what's next is a choice. So let's dive in. Dorice Horenstein is renowned 𝐬𝐿 champion catalyst, international resilience speaker, and she transforms tactics into practical strategies. As an international speaker, positive intelligence expert, and best-selling author of Moments of the Heart, 4 relationships everyone should have to live wholeheartedly. Dorice motivates, inspires, and energizes global audiences to uncover their inner champions. Dorice, my dear sweet friend, I am so glad to have you on the show. Welcome to Our Future is Kind.
Thank you so much for having me. And it's surprising to me because that bio you said did not include my newest book, which is Choose to Be Your Own Champion. Like, hello. But you know, it's okay because I'm modeling the situation. Here you go. That's my newest book, and it's Choose to Be Your Own Champion, just released. So totally understand that I need to make sure that my website is speak and span on that one.
Well, it's hard to keep everything up to date when you are as awesome as you are. So.
Well, thank you, because, you know, awesome find awesome. So, awesome people gravitate, kind people gravitate, right, to one another.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Somebody who's negative, I don't know. Somehow I don't see them. They're not in my sphere.
That's right.
And if they also happen to be in my sphere, either I change them or I move to another sphere.
Right. We try to lift them up wherever we can.
Wherever we can. But sometimes it's not our baggage to carry.
Yes. Yes.
Okay?
No,
Lesson number one.
I'm with you. I have unloaded a lot of baggage in the last few years, and I'm never picking it up again. So
exactly. It reminds me of this joke. You know, this man on a train, and he goes on a train, and the conductor comes and wants his ticket, so he gives him his ticket, but he's humming along. He's like, ta na 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 na, ta na 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 na, and the guy says to him, "Well, man, you have to move this luggage that you have here." And the man keeps on singing, humming, da na 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 na. And this guy comes again and he says, "Mister, if you're not going to move this luggage, I'm going to throw it out the window." And the guy continues to laugh and smile and hum to himself, da na 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 na. Okay, a few more minutes comes. The guy comes, takes the luggage, throw it out, and says like, "Mister, I threw your luggage out the window." And the man says, "This wasn't my luggage. This wasn't my luggage." I love this because sometimes it's not our luggage, and we should not be worried about it.
Yeah.
So here we go. That's how we start this podcast.
I love it. I love it. I love the metaphor that we are not supposed to be carrying certain things or claiming certain things to carry. Yeah.
Yes. You know, just last night I went to my dance class, and this man there is an older man, and he was confiding in me. He loves to talk to me. He's a sweet man. He talks to me about his wife that is not doing well, and she's now bedridden, and he threw his back out because he was carrying her and moving her and all that. And I said, "Don't you have maybe help, to help you? Because, you're no young chicken. You need help." And he says, "No, I said when I married, I said, I will help you. I will support you. I will be there for you. So I need to do that." And he says, he said to me, "That's what God would want from me." And I said, "I don't know if that's what God would want." I said, "I think God would want you to take care of her, but not to have all the onus and the responsibility on your shoulders to physically do it. You can care for her by providing for her the support that she needs." I said, "You're not throwing her away. You're just saying, I can't do it physically. So I need help. And he said, well, she is not willing for anybody else to help, just me. And I said, well, that's another issue that you need to solve. I said, but you can't be a caregiver and give everything you have, because at some point you will not have it, and then you will get sick. And then who's going to take care of you or her?
Yes.
You know, so I don't know if I made for him a moment of like reflection. I hope I did.
Right.
But this is the part, you know, sometimes like we think that we're helping somebody, but we're actually hurting more than we're helping.
I think that's a really important piece of parenting, of being a supervisor at work, of being a good colleague, of being a good friend. If you are supporting so much to the point where you snap in half, you're no longer the good supporter. So you have to take care of yourself as a part of it, right?
Foundation.
Yeah.
Basic, you know,
Yeah.
and yes, be there for your good friends when they're going through a hard time.
Yeah.
Support your spouse, be there for your children. But at a certain moment, you have to see, how well are you? How, you know, aligned are you? How happy are you? How in peace are you? And the gentleman last night, he was not in peace. I could see it, you know.
Well, I think it's amazing how you intuit such things. But let's get back to telling everybody in our audience about you, because it sounds like this is a big piece of who you are. I mean, you're writing books, and your book is called what again? What's your book called?
Choose to be your own champion.
So you are giving this advice to this man about how to be his own champion while also not you know, neglecting some of the duties that he feels he has. Tell us, where does this come from?
Okay, so you said the beautiful bio about me, but you know, a little bit more.
Yeah.
I grew up in Israel. I arrived in America with $600, one suitcase, no coat, in December in Oregon, where it is cold normally in December.
Yeah.
Because I didn't own a coat. I didn't own a coat. I came from a very humble background. We were 5 siblings. My dad worked in construction. My mom sometimes worked 3 jobs to keep the family afloat. I grew up with the support of the people around me and surrounded by love. And which I want to do a big shout out to all the parents out there that are doing incredible job, and sometimes they feel they're just going under the water. And looking it from the other side, as a child who has grown, my parents really created, and it's almost like makes me teary. My parents really created the most amazing foundation for their children, and I'm one of a very, very lucky 5 kids. And so I grew up, what I want to say, I don't know what anybody else is saying, but I say I grew up so healthy, so full of love, you know, not with a lack of anything, even though we had no money, you see?
Right.
But as a kid, you don't recognize the material things, right? You want the time, you want the attention, you want the compliment, you want the gratitude, you want have them make you feel like you are a champion. And I think that's what my parents did from growing up. And so when I arrived here, I thought, okay, what is this champion Dorice is going to do in America? She knew one person in the entire United States.
Wow.
And yeah, entire United States. I cannot believe it, honestly, that the courage that it takes. And maybe we'll talk a little bit more about courage later on, because it does take courage to also be kind and to find your way in life. But at that time, as I came, I did not have a college degree yet or anything. And I decided I'm going to go to college, starting in PCC, like the community college here in town. And slowly but surely, I said, okay, as long as I do this, then I can also contribute and do what I know without formal education. I was a proud Jewish person. So I got into Jewish education. And that was the beginning that led me to 30 years in the field of education, in particular Jewish education. So 16 years I ran a school. I was organizing events. I had at some point 42 people that were working on different committees and different things under me as the education director. And it taught me a lot about how you handle people, how you don't handle people. What are the things you do? What are the things you should say? And it was, I tried, I failed. I tried again, I succeeded. Every failure got me to the next step. I don't think our journey in life is a linear line from here to there. We're not like, oh, we're going to be here, and then next time, 5 years from now, we're going to land there. No. And it's not even a zigzag. It's not even a zigzag. It's like sometimes it's a zigzag, and then it's a U-turn going back around, and then it goes another circling up, and suddenly you on a Ferris wheel, and you go whoop all the way around. That's, I think, how journey in life is if I were to draw it. So anyway, I did that for 30 years. And then at some point, my sister had cancer. I had this thought, oh my God, what am I going to do? I don't feel this is my true calling, even though I felt needed and I felt that I was serving and I felt that what I did was holy work. I felt that there was something bigger than that. And I think it was I wanted to be impacting people who wouldn't necessarily come to my building to be educated or to know me. And I had this notion in my head, go out to them, make your world, your classroom, and your stage. That was what I said in 2018, July 1st, when I left. I said, Dorice, let's make the world your classroom and your stage, because that's what you're good at. So that translates as starting to write books, and that these are the two books that came. First one is The Moments of the Heart, behind me, and then the other one is behind me, Choose to Be Your Own Champion. And then that says, okay, now let's go on stages. Let's go and meet the people where they are. And in that, I open my beautiful world to people from all religions, and which I think is just the best. Being proud of who I am. Yeah. That's, to me, is really important, my identity. And then giving the same honor and respect to people with other identities. And when we all come with the open mindset of embracing and loving and accepting and honoring, the sky's the limit, And just my talk yesterday in the morning, I gave a talk to a group of managers in a barber shop organization, like 30 managers. And I saw, different worlds, yet different, the same humanity, different goals, yet the same heart wishes. And it's just so beautiful. I'm like, every time I do that, my heart is filled that I am serving, that I'm impacting, that I'm helping people be the best version of themselves possible, live up to their human potential, whatever that means to them.
Well, a big piece of the Jewish faith, if I understand it correctly, is to do good works in the world and to try to build a future that we all want to live in, where everybody is connected and kind and loving. Is that how you see it?
100%. You just nailed it right there. We have a term that is, be a light to the nations. We have that phrase, and people say that phrase. So the question is, how are you a light? And if you are a light, that means that there is some places where it's dark. Yeah. Because if everything is light, then what's your light? Like, why would you? Your light is to shine on the places where it's dark. So sometimes it is the community or the country at large, something is not good. And what I'm specializing in is the inside darkness. It's where it's dark on the inside. So.
Well, every time I've been around you and you step into a room, you certainly bring the light. And I have to say, I mean, we've met at National Speakers Association, large conferences like Influence, and I mean, it is a group wherein everybody wants to get on stage and change the lives of people around them. At what point did you start getting formally educated in how to be a speaker on a stage, and what's different about what you did before and what you do now?
That's a good question. Well, the first thing that I did when I left, July 1st, 2018, is somebody said, "Do you know about Toastmasters?" And I was like, I heard about them, never attended anything.
Right.
So, Dorice, find the Toastmasters group. So I did. August, I signed up. And then I met a couple of people there in the Toastmaster group. And then they said to me, "Hey, do you know of National Speaker Association?" And I'm like, "No, what is that?" "Oh, that's where all speakers get to be better, have a better business, speak better. Maybe I should attend." So I went and never looked back. I met so many wonderful people. You're one of them. And it's changed my life. So I learned how to present myself. Now, I was always a speaker in my own, a teacher, an educator and especially if they do it right, then it's you have it in you. For me, the transition was, how do my messages land not on a religious crowd, but more on a corporate, on associations, where religion is not something that we bring in. How can I bring in the idea of spirituality and being your best self and work on what people think as the soft skills? And we know it's not soft. Right. Kindness is not soft. Joy is not soft. It is actually, you have an ROI on this if you are doing it. So I said, let's just bring that in that lens. And when people get to know me and hear a story, they'll say, "Oh my God, I could relate to her," regardless of my religion. But they all know within seconds who I am.
Right.
And I'm not hiding it from anybody.
Right. And you brought it up.
Which, by the way, I want to tell you, some people do hide who they are and their identity when they're speaking on a stage. They teach whatever it is that they want to speak about, but they don't reveal their soul. And I was speaking at 𝐬𝐻𝐫, Washington last month in March. I had somebody put themselves on my calendar for a conversation. And the first thing they says, "Dorice, I admired that you were not ashamed or shy or embarrassed, or immediately people knew who you are, and you embraced everybody in the room and you made everybody feel connected." And she said, "I don't do that." She says, "I work in a place with 400 people. They don't know my religion. I keep my head down. I do the work, and then I go home. And in my home, I am me." And no judgment, but I felt sad that somebody doesn't feel safe, because it's all about safety. They don't feel safe to say who they are.
Yeah, no, that's a very difficult situation. I think a lot of people who go into a corporate setting or a university setting, wherever people work, and feel like they cannot bring their, the full richness of who they are to play. I do have a lot of friends and family who are trans or who are LGBT or who are of some religions right now that if you hear about them in the news, there are lots of difficult situations that involve. So they just don't want to get into it. They don't want to say these things out loud. And it's a rough place to be. I mean, what advice do you share with people about how to bring just a little bit more of themselves to light, in a safe way? Is there a secret recipe?
I think there is. I mean, the thought that comes to my mind immediately is, if you celebrate a holiday, whatever that is, bring some cookies that are symbolic of the holidays the next day to your office. Put them on the table for people to say, and people will say, "Oh, what is this cookie?" And you'll say, "Oh, we just celebrate a holiday, and this is our cookies that we do, and it's symbolizing blah, 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 blah," or something. And people say, "Oh, that's fun."
Yeah.
Simple like that. People bond over food, right? You're not coming to say, "I am this way," and because you're not this way, you are less good than me. Right. No, we bring food, we just share. Right? What do we teach our children? Sharing is caring.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
We say to a 4-year-old in a preschool.
Yes. Well,
so why don't we say it to us?
It's a good rule. I mean, adults can follow kindergarten rules too. I mean, we should. Absolutely. As a bare minimum.
Yes. Sharing is caring.
Yes. Well, and you've brought it up a couple of times, so I really want to address it. Kindness is not weak. Kindness takes courage. Can you talk to us a little bit about that? Because I hear this complaint a lot that, it's just a soft skill. We don't have time for that. It's just, singing Kumbaya and holding hands. Why should I believe kindness is strong? And where's, how is courage related to it?
Well, sometimes, and especially now in our society right now, there is so much upheaval or divisiveness of people because of religion or because of political stand, and we forget how to treat somebody as a human to human. And so in my talks, I always start, somewhere in my talk, there is always that concept of what is a human. Mm-hmm. And I go into it, what is a human? Now, why is it important? Because when you understand how you are the same human, and I talk about it, the Hebrew word Adam, and where it's the and the dam, and it's the spiritual and physical, and I put it together. And I said, if we are all this Adam, that spiritual and physical, and and that for spiritual is also means the word champion, that the letter A is also champion, so it's embedded in it. So I said, so if we're looking around in our office, around our table, in a boardroom, and you realize that they're as champion as you are, what does it do to you? And people, I've said it yesterday. I said, what happens to your shop? What happened to you? And they said, we become more respectful and nice to the other person because that's how we would want to be treated. Right. So I think kindness in the very basic is treat others the way you would want them to treat you. And maybe even sometimes a little better, because sometimes we don't treat ourselves very nice. And sometimes we don't accept, we are too hard, we're too judgmental, we are too whatever. But in our imaginary world, we want to be treated in a nice way. Yes. So, wow, let's bring it in. People who are kinder, more vulnerable as leaders actually have their employees, their followers, their team members have 5.3% better chance to connect with this person and not to leave their job. That's Gallup poll 2025. Okay, that's not me. Right. I'm like reading this and I'm thinking, wow, that's so amazing. People who are happier people, and kindness is connected very much to happiness, right? People who are kind are naturally inclined more to be joyful and happy. Good. Well, joyful employees, happy employees produce 13% more than unhappy employees. Right. Unkind employees. Not only that, companies that have a culture of kindness and happiness are 20% outbeat their competition by 20%. Right. So then any leader should ask themselves, do I want to have kindness and happiness and joy around my office, my team, my company? Right. And if they want to be successful, I think the answer is really clear. And I think leaders are waking up to this. I have so many calls from leaders. Just the other day, somebody called me from a big semiconductor company, and she said, Dorice, the complaint that we have in our team over and over again, which I hope you can solve, is that because they're so stressed, their kindness and attention to another person and their needs goes down because they're stressed in their own world. So if we help people distress, it actually opens the mind, their brain, literally from a neuroscience way, to then embrace positive emotions like kindness, like compassion, like empathy, like curiosity, like innovation, all of these things. And so she reached out to me saying, I have an issue with our team. And she's like a senior leader. She has like 400 people under her. And that is the thing that comes again and again. So of course I'm going to help her. Yeah. But that's why I think it's so important. And it takes courage.
It does.
Why? 2 reasons. Number one, for the leader to recognize that they cannot provide all of it for their team. And so seek out those people who can bring it to you, number one. Number two, you may go in your corporation against some of the old mindset that, come on, chop, 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 let's get the work done. Right. Let's invest that thousands of dollars into teaching them the technology, the AI, these things. And don't worry about this. If they want, they could take Brené Brown book and read it and learn a little bit more about emotional intelligence.
Right.
They can say that.
Right.
That's the courage that it takes to say, you know what? Let's pause on that.
Right.
I think that takes courage.
Yeah.
So it's courage to recognize it within your team and courage to then carry it with some people that may not like it.
Yes, I have seen times when people are unkind, when they are cruel. And I'm going to say right now, that's really easy. It's easy to do. It takes no courage at all to just yell at someone. It takes no courage because you're just letting your anger out. You're just like a capacitor in a circuit. You're just allowing all of the energy to go out into that other person in a really horrible way. What takes a lot more courage is to take that deep breath, to say, hey, I don't think we're agreeing on this call. Let's take a breather and let's come back to this because I really want to hear your perspective. We're all on the same team. We're all trying to, all of those phrases, all of that thinking, all of that deep breathing takes a lot more courage than just fighting fire with fire and yelling.
Oh God. Yeah. You're absolutely right. And here's the thing. Another reason why we need courage. It's for the people who provide this mindset of kindness and joy and empathy is to understand when they say no, when they say, I do not accept that. And it doesn't matter who that person that brought them. I remember a long time ago, I had a very affluent person when I was in the education world, very affluent in the community. And he came to my office and there was a service going on, this big holiday. And he came to my office where I was and he was blowing off steam. He was mad at this and mad at that. And of course, in the process, mad at me because I work in that building. And he was like, he was going to bring it home. You know what and that was before I was doing mental fitness. It was before I was a speaker, before I knew about positive intelligence, before I had any tools, formal tools that I could say. I said to him, excuse me, you are not going to talk like that in my office.
Right.
I opened the door and I said, get out. And this was for somebody who other people feared.
Yes.
They feared him. And then I said, no. You know what happened, Michael? You know what happened as a result?
What?
He became one of my biggest advocates.
You set up a reasonable boundary.
Oh, yeah.
And he had to think about it later.
And he invites me to all sorts of stuff that they're doing. And because he saw that Dorice Horenstein set a boundary, and said, not here, not to me, not now, not ever.
Yeah.
And so I think people like us that lean into kindness, we also need to know when we put boundaries on our kindness, right? Because sometimes people think our kindness means that you can step on us and
Right.
we'll just be kind to you.
Right.
Just walk right on us. Not in my book.
Right.
So I think that's important to say, not in my book. And I don't see that as kindness. I actually see that as overpleasing. And I see that as a pocket of resentfulness that occur.
Right.
And I was like, no.
Right.
And that's, I think, connect to my very healthy upbringing, where I knew what is a good thing and what is not a good thing.
Right.
And you just do it.
Well, and I think about this from a perspective of a third party, somebody who comes across your office and sees somebody yelling at somebody else. An objective third party observer would sit there and say, well, there's unkindness that's going on here. How do we protect and defend the person who's the recipient of that cruelty, of that anger, of that malice? And so in a lot of ways, trying to learn how to be kind means being that third party for yourself in those moments where you have to be an advocate or a champion for yourself. I mean, I love the fact that we keep coming back to this idea that you have really fleshed out in this book. I can't wait to get a copy and read it.
I'm sending it to you, 100% sending it to you. But here's the thing. Some people, the door was closed until I opened it and told the man to leave.
Yeah.
But there was a window and people saw. And you know what happened? They were afraid to interfere. And they said, we saw that. We saw the personalities involved.
Right.
And we were like, we're going to duck down and go. You know, which means that sometimes if you really advocate kindness, sometimes you have to step in and to say, not the culture we're building.
And that's the courage that
we're building.
That's the courage that you're talking about too, is that you have the courage to advocate for yourself. Others who observed it, man, it would have taken a lot to, you know, really pick themselves up and get that energy enough to step in that room and be kind to you by essentially trying to help protect or trying to help defend. Yeah, I mean, yet again, we come to the idea of kindness is requiring courage.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
I agree.
I want to take you on a thought experiment. Are you ready to go down a thought experiment with me, Dorice?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
This is going to be so much fun because I can't wait to hear your answers. Okay. So, Dorice, we're getting into a time machine. We're going forward 100 years. So now we're going to step out of those doors in just a moment, and it's going to be 2126.
I want to make sure that I look like this. Do I look like this?
Oh, of course. Of course. You step out, people are going to be like, oh my gosh, that's Dorice.
I know.
She's amazing.
She has not changed a bit.
Not a bit. So you're going to step out of those doors, and as I'm maneuvering the controls, I say, hey, Dorice, we did all the right things. We got every decision right. We did all the right things, and this is the best possible future. When we step out of those doors, what are you looking for to confirm that it really is the best possible future? What does it look like to you?
I'll tell you. I hope that in 100 years, if I were to come out of this little train, which I'm sure is an AI, and we just go into this little bowl and everything is white and it's like very, very kind of like science fiction way. I will see people who don't have fear. I will see people who are not afraid.
Okay.
Because I think fear is the reason of a lot of the bad things that we are watching with our eyes today.
Yes.
Because of fear, people will not be kind. Because of fear, people will hate. Because of fear, people will feel that they're not enough. Because of fear, people will want to hurt, damage, kill people.
Yes.
And so if we do not have fear, if I do not have fear of my own safety, my own self, not fear of you, but the opposite of fear, which is the love.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
If I don't have that fear, I think the world will be good, because to me, that is the nugget of all the bad things that we're experiencing within a person. What stops them from being their champion is undoubtedly fear on the bottom of things. You know, right? The nugget is that fear. And I also look at the world and the wars and the let's move into a place and kill innocent civilians, that, you know, bombing and terrorist things that coming into synagogues in the United States or mosques or churches. You know, I think, as I just saw last year, there was a study, 437 people died of terrorist actions in the United States last year.
It's terrible.
So that's terrible. So just think about that. If we didn't have that fear, so much of it will be better.
Yeah, I love that. Now here's the harder question for you. We were in the time machine and I said, hey, Dorice, we did all the right things to get to that future. Dorice Horenstein, what are all the right things? What do we need to do to make that future?
To make people with no fear?
Yeah. How do we get there?
Well, have more of workshops like what we were talking about, mental fitness, to be precise, right? It's the idea of like, how do you train your brain so you have less fear? There's actually a study. We know that negative emotions live in one side of our brain, in the limbic system. We know that love, we know that empathy and kindness and curiosity live in the different parts of our brain, in the prefrontal cortex, part of the right brain. So it's literally the training of your brain. It's not, when I go and speak, I don't give them that row talk. And it's like, yeah, you can do it. Because you know what? They go home and maybe they are kind or happy for a day or two or three or a week, whatever. But then they go back to their base.
Yeah.
So how do I change that base? That to me is the biggest key, is let's change the foundation.
Yeah.
So that's number one that I think we should do. Number two, I think we should, when we do that, one of the side effects, besides just being happier and all that, is being more optimistic. And I think in our world, we are not as optimistic. And to create that utopia world that you have been describing to me, if we are not optimistic and hopeful, it ain't gonna happen, right? If we're sitting there, it's like, yep, never happening. Then guess what? It will never happen because we just said that.
Right.
So the idea of really taking time to train, to work on ourselves, and the way and the understanding that how we were born, as good as it was, or maybe not as good as it was, it's not the one all and be all for how your life is going to turn out, right? So if it was a good way you grew up, in my case, then emulate that forever for your own children, live it up. If it wasn't so good, then know what you need to limit and eliminate so that you grow healthy roots that don't have that trauma in them, that fear, that anger, that shame, that all of these negative emotions. So I think so. And I do think that we need to always be hopeful because, okay, here's a question, $1 million question. Why do people hope? Why do people hope?
Because people have overcome very difficult things in the past. So there's a chance we could do it too.
Okay.
For me, that's
a good reason. Here's one answer that is 100% true all the time to all people. There's only one reason why people hope.
What is that?
One reason why people hope. They want to have a better future. Done. End of sentence, mic drop. Literally. So if you think what is a better future for you, it may be a little bit different than a better future for me, right? We have a different how we're looking at it. But a better future. What?
Yeah.
That's why we hope. And I think when you hope, you instinctively become more of an optimist because you imagine not only, well, when I talk about optimism, when I say optimistic, people immediately think the cup half full, right? They think if the cup half full. Well, I say, no. You see the cup half full. And if I had if this was a see-through, you would see, but instead it's a reflection on both of us, which I, by the way, love. Okay, I'm side note. But true optimist, Michael, is a person who sees the cup half full, acknowledge it, grateful for it, but understand and have some tools how you fill the rest of the cup. That's what really true optimism is, right? It's not like, okay, I'm seeing this is the status quo, this is the half of the cup, and I'm going to live with it.
Right.
That's not really fully hopeful or fully optimistic. You want to get more.
Right.
And as you should.
Yes.
So then how do we get there?
Yeah. No, I love that idea of staying optimistic and educating ourselves on how to be better caretakers of our own emotional landscapes. I love that as well. So
100%.
So
and you need one more thing because I mean, you started this. I did.
I can
go.
Take it, Dorice, take it.
Because I wanted to say that, yes to everything we said, and the fact that we need people to help us be the hopeful person and the optimistic person and a person that wants to grow and illuminate the world and have light. We need people around us.
Right.
So it's not by coincidence that I met you at NSA. There were 900 people there. I met you.
Yeah.
I connected with you. Months later, we have conversations.
Yeah.
Why? Because it's the support of the people that think like you, that have the same vision of the world as you, maybe at different methods, but we have the goal at the end. Our target is the same. How we get there may be a little different.
Sure.
And I think that's the part is, how do we surround ourselves? Because if we surround ourselves with naysayers, with people who will put us down, with people who will say you can't, it's ridiculous, then guess what? It's going to be ridiculous.
Yeah.
We're not going to make it. So the question is, when you want that world in 100 years, who is going to be in your world? Who's the community?
Yeah. Yeah. It's an important question. And I think you're giving permission to everybody who's listening in to have some hope and to believe that, people like you are out here. So come find us, come reach out to Dorice, come reach out to me. We will help plug you into a community of positive visionaries who see what the future can be.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. The world, we're big, we're growing, we're wonderful. And we're not these, sitting around the fireplace and singing Kumbaya, because that's not me. Right. I'm not that like, oh, we all love everybody and everybody loves us. I know the reality.
Yeah.
I know that there are people there that thrive on hate.
Yeah.
That thrive on destruction. I don't let that stop me from my own vision. And I think that's important to bring up, right?
Right.
So, yeah, if you want a serious group, whoever you are listening right now, if you want to really, number one, grow in your own powers, then absolutely reach to Michael. If you want to surround yourself with a community, then yes, reach to Michael.
And if you're listening in and you find that you are filled with hate and anger and loathing for anyone, stop.
Or yourself.
Stop for just a moment and realize that we see you. We know that something is hurting inside that makes you so angry and so upset. And we want to hear from you, and we want you to be part of our community too. We're not excluding you. We want to help. We want to be there for you. So,
First of all, thank you for bringing this question. Thank you for asking me, and thank you for having me on the show. I hope it was beneficial to anybody who's been listening about this beautiful coffee conversation that we were having. To find me, DoriceHorenstein.com, my website. It is full of information. There is a place there where you can connect with Dorice. There is a place there where you can book Dorice. There is a place there where you can download freebies from Dorice. There's a place there you buy my books. All of it is there. So I will just direct you to my website, because you can find me through the website. You can even, if you dig enough, you'll find my cell phone number on my website. So I'm not, and I do not want to be best kept secret.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
I'm in that time in my life. I'm like, know me.
Yes.
Be around me.
Yeah.
I want to be around you. So let's do it.
There's some of that courage that we were talking about earlier. Dorice Horenstein, I am so enamored of the things that you do in this world and how you are. So I really appreciate you being on Our Future is Kind.
Thank you so much for having me. And with you in the reins of this future, I'm looking forward to the next 100 years.
All right.
And if I don't see it from Earth, I'll see it from up above. But I'll see it.
Okay. I'll warm up the time machine. It'll be good.
This week's Kindness Challenge. Dorice believes that kindness starts by recognizing the champion in every person. Try these actions this week. Treat one person with the same respect and understanding you hope to receive yourself. Share something meaningful from your culture, background, or personal story with someone else. Pause before reacting when frustrated. Take one deep breath and choose a response instead of a reaction. Set one healthy boundary where kindness has turned into overgiving or people-pleasing. Want to stay inspired so you can stay kind? When life feels overwhelming, pause before reacting. Take a deep breath, spend time doing something that brings you joy, whether it's walking your dog, dancing, or being in nature. Dorice also recommends learning from inspiring voices like Brené Brown, Oprah Winfrey, and Rabbi Jonathan Sacks. Most importantly, surround yourself with people who encourage growth, kindness, and a positive vision for the future.
You've been listening to Our Future is Kind podcast, where building what's next is a choice. Make your next choice a good one and help build the future we want to live in.